What's up, Dallas Mavericks fans? Before we get into today's video, we're getting closer and closer to the NBA trade deadline. 2 weeks from Thursday, it comes and goes, and here's the deal. If the Mavericks make a trade, we got you covered. So hit that subscribe button here at youtube.com/MavsTV. Stay in the know, and we got more trade rumors coming up on today's show. You're watching Dallas Mavericks Today. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, and today's show is presented by the Fetch Rewards app. Earn points by scanning receipts from literally any store or restaurant, and then you will eventually be able to turn those points into gift cards. Chatsports.com/fetch. That is where you can get started, and then use our promo code Mavericks to get 3,000 bonus points when you scan that first receipt. We'll tell you a little bit more about how you can get those points built up later on in the show. Chatsports.com/fetch, promo code Mavericks. Okay, let's get into some more Mavs trade rumors. Could Dallas pursue either Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart before the NBA trade deadline? Lots of buzz coming out of Boston, a little bit out of Dallas as well, as the Celtics could be shaking things up. Here's Steve Lepetti on Boston's state of affairs right now. Quote, "The Celtics appear to have come to the conclusion that changes need to be made now. According to sources around the league, the Celts have been extremely active in trade talks ahead of the February 10th deadline." And of course, conversations around the Celtics for the past couple of years have surrounded, well, do you keep Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together? But for the Mavericks side of it here, could they pursue Marcus Smart, or even better, a young superstar in the making in Jaylen Brown? Now, obviously, the Marcus Smart connection, we've talked about that on this channel for years. Played his high school ball out in Flower Mound, played his college ball in the Big 12 up at Oklahoma State. He's got ties to the area. I think there's been mutual interest in the past. Jaylen Brown, again, I think for a couple years now, it's been, well, if you split up Tatum and Brown, trading Brown is more likely because Tatum is kind of the prized possession in Boston. If you could get either of these guys, I think that would be nice. I think Smart is certainly more attainable if you are Dallas. Now, what is kind of interesting is the last couple of years, where was a lot of the Marcus Smart trade buzz coming from? Well, it was like, Dallas could use another defensive guard and wing. Well, do you really need that right now, though? Because Marcus Smart is a dog defensively, and I've always loved that part of him, but Dallas is top 5 in defensive efficiency right now. Jaylen Brown, however, if you could swing a trade for him, that's a franchise-changing type of move. I think that would be, one of those where it's like, whoa, if you pull that off and keep Porzingis in the process, is Dallas a team to be reckoned with in the West? I think that's a possibility. Further evidence on how good this defense has been, StatMuse had this stat, so credit to them. 23 straight games for Dallas for holding opponents to under 50% from the field. That is tremendous. On top of that, over the last 13 games, Dallas has won 11. This is a red-hot basketball team right now, but I also will say that in the sense that just because the Mavs are hot doesn't mean they shouldn't be active at the trade deadline. I still think if there are moves to be made, they should consider those. You look at some of the Mavs' specific defensive ranks, third in points allowed, fourth in defensive rating, middle of the pack in field goal percentage, but when you're top 10 in three-point percentage allowed, you'll live with that because that's where teams just bury you nowadays when they hit 15 threes a game on you, and Dallas isn't giving that number up. They're just not giving up that many threes, well above league average at just 33.8% allowed. Dallas could use another shooter. Now, Jaylen Brown's more than a shooter. He's a guy who can flat-out score the basketball, but he's also an elite three-point shooter. Could you imagine Jaylen Brown playing off-ball with Luka, and then also he can play on-ball as well with Kristaps Porzingis? Because just kind of in my brain, I'm starting to think about this. Okay, if you get Jaylen Brown, you're probably trading Tim Hardaway and Jalen Brunson and 2 first-round picks. I mean, that's probably what you're looking at there. The assets for Brown, it's just going to cost a lot. And is that even enough? Like, if you're Boston, you probably want more, especially since Dallas's first-round picks that they can trade aren't until 2025 and 2027. But that being said, if it's even possible that you could get Jaylen Brown, even if you're a third team, a third team gets involved there, that's something you got to heavily consider if you are Dallas. Now pick one. Obviously Marcus Smart, easier to get, going to cost less. Who would you rather trade for? Type MS for Marcus Smart, type JB for Jaylen Brown. Let me know down in the comment section, which player would you rather trade for? Now, today's show is sponsored by the Fetch Rewards app. And guys, I told you at the top of the show, you can download the app at chatsports.com/fetch. But what this app does is it allows you to scan your receipts. I know a lot of you guys probably have a bunch of them in your car. Don't throw them away yet. Download the app first, start scanning them, and then boom, once that information gets submitted, which it takes like 10 seconds, you guys are seeing an example of that right now, the confetti starts popping, and then you get to build points. And you're like, points, what does that mean? Well, you know how on credit cards you can build points? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. The point is, down the road, you can turn those points into rewards, like gift cards from Amazon. Get your morning coffee paid for. Starbucks gift cards are available. Target, Walmart, tons of restaurants. Hell, start saving up a ton of points and you can get some of your Christmas shopping paid for next year. Chatsports.com/fetch. Promo code Mavericks gets you a bonus 3,000 points when you make your first scan of that first receipt. This is awesome. It's free. Use our app to support, or use our link to support the show, chatsports.com/fetch. That'll redirect you to the App Store and you can download it today. That way we get credit and hey, we get to do more videos. Awesome deal for everyone involved. 100% free. Download the Fetch Rewards app today. Link will be in the comments and in the description. Okay, let's get to our next storyline. The Washington Wizards are reportedly open to dealing Spencer Dinwiddie, who they gave that pretty big contract to this offseason after he was coming off that injury with the Brooklyn Nets. And I've liked Spencer Dinwiddie for quite a while, but the problem is that he just hasn't looked that great coming off the injury. The shooting splits aren't there, 32% even from three, less than 40 from the field, only 13 points a game. You like the assist. He's a playmaker who could certainly help in that area. Kind of a league average defender, always been a decent rebounder for a guard. Kind of a combo guard. He's like a bigger Monte Ellis, kind of. I mean, their games are kind of similar for you MFFLs who loved watching Monte. I think there's some similarities there. But I don't like what I've seen coming off the injury. So it's kind of a give and take. You get a ball handler, which we've talked about. If you're going to keep Jaylen Brunson in the starting lineup, you could use another guy who can run the offense on your second unit. But is the amount of money he's making worth a guy coming off the bench? I mean, you look at his contract here with Washington, $17-18 million a year. That third year, only $10 million is guaranteed based on, games played and a couple of other variables. He can make all 18 that year. But still, that's a lot of money for a guy that probably wouldn't even start for you. I guess you could start him and bring Brunson back off the bench, but you really want to mess with the chemistry right now on the JB Luka front? I don't. So I'm not saying, that this isn't a guy to keep an eye on and isn't a guy worth pursuing at all. I'm saying, think of it this way. Is Tim Hardaway, who's got a very similar contract and annual value, just has one extra year on it, is trading him straight up for Dinwiddie like an upgrade? I don't know if it is. Pre-Dinwiddie injury, probably, but I really don't know. I think the defense, you'd probably give Tim a slight edge. He's a better shooter, there's no doubt about that, but he's less of a playmaker, so, that it sort of evens out, but it's not enough to make a trade, in my opinion. If this is the deal, I'm just going to keep Hardaway, and I'm going to explore other options because I just don't think at the end of the day you're getting a major upgrade here. So, if Dinwiddie was playing pre-injury level, then yeah, sure, I'd even throw Hardaway in a pick there. But we just haven't seen that level from Dinwiddie, which scares me. It tells me the injury is still lingering there as he is trying to come back from it. Would you trade Tim Hardaway for Dinwiddie? I've made it pretty clear that I would not. Type T for trade or type P for pass. I'm going to type my P for pass on this one. I just think there's better trades to be had and better players on the trading block. Now, again, if we see the Mavericks make a trade or any other major news or rumors develops, we will have you guys covered on this channel, youtube.com/MavsTV. Producer Jeff Cooperstein grinding on a daily basis to help us get more videos out to you guys. So help our brother out and subscribe, and let's continue to grow this channel. Before we sign off, Jason Kidd, should he get some Coach of the Year love? I mean, I think a little bit, right? We outlined the defensive numbers earlier. We'll show them again for you guys. That has translated from LA. Now, Kidd, when he took the job, did not anticipate this being an elite defensive team, but the biggest thing he helped bring to the Lakers was defense, and he was, highly regarded as an assistant there. LeBron really liked him, and that has translated. Now, the offense at times has been dicey, but that has picked up as of late. And I said when the Mavs hired Kidd that I don't love it, but I like it, and I feel like he's probably a guy who's learned from his prior coaching failures. I mean, Giannis loved him in Milwaukee. He just didn't win enough there when he was the Bucks head coach. The team was also able to stay afloat during the COVID situation. They were around 500 during that stretch. Also, Luka missed some extra games on top of that, and they kept winning their handful of games too. So I think Jason Kidd's been the one constant, and then even he misses a couple of games, and the Mavs stay afloat. But the point is, I think he's connected well with these players. Luka certainly likes him more than he liked Rick. I think that's pretty obvious, and obviously KP does as well. Because honestly, if Carlisle was back, I don't think Porzingis would play for him. Like, things got that ugly between those two. Some of the COVID, guys that came through here, these guys were getting actual minutes. Isaiah Thomas, Charlie Brown, and no, it's not a Thanksgiving special. George King, Carlick Jones, Brandon Knight, who hadn't played in like 3 years. These guys were actual contributors. And then Marquise Chris turns it into a contract. Even Theo Pinson got a two-way out of it. So I think Kidd's doing a good job getting a lot out of these, out of the main roster, but also some of these other guys that have come through as well. I've been impressed. I'm not sitting here saying this team's going to, win 55 games all of a sudden and, make the Western Conference Finals. But once they've gotten healthy, they took off, and they were able to stay afloat while they weren't healthy, and I think that's a really, really positive sign. I think Jason Kidd deserves a good amount of credit for that. Someone who's starting to take off as well is Luka Doncic, who, sure, he's still not shooting the three ball well, but everything else is falling into place. 30 points, 10.5 boards, 8 assists over his last 5. If that three-point shot comes around, he's got everything else working right now. So I think he's getting his wind back. He's finally starting to get into basketball shape, which is at a good time as, the second half of the season in terms of, number of games has just gotten going here. So exciting times for the Mavs, and we'll see if they make any moves before the deadline. We'll ask you guys this question, and then we'll sign off. Should Jason Kidd be in the Coach of the Year running? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think it's a secondary candidate. Let's see how the next 15, 20 games go. But honestly, in the month of December, he probably was the best coach in the NBA. Get your votes in. We'll see you soon here on Mavericks Today.